And I thought that this image I mentioned, the Samuel Beckett-like image of we can't go anywhere, we can't know anything, relationships that have failed, expressions of neuroses. I thought, well, why don't I take that story and put it in a world where anything could happen? And why don't I give that story a kind of an out? And if I gave it an out, what would happen? Rhoda, who says if she were young, she would succor the sick. I wouldn't worry about culture even if I were young. And that's always a problem, isn't it? I would be a better person if. I would be if. I said, okay already. In my world, she's going to get out of that house. And what would she do? And Rhoda for me is a bit of a Candide, you know, the eternal innocent. And I'm kind of having a lot of fun with Rhoda. You realize Rhoda and Harriet are both me, right? Because I'm thinking, how could anyone be so stupid? You know? How could they be caught in this thing like that? So let her go out in the world. And lo and behold, inside of her is a performer. And a lot of repressed people, inside of them is secretly a performer. Now, looking at a lot of the reality shows, Can You Dance and American Idol, you wish they would keep it inside more. You know? but now is the time, as Andy Warhol said. What did Andy Warhol say? In the future, what about it?
Everyone will get it.
Everybody will be famous for 15 minutes. It's true, isn't it? Yeah. Right now, you get out of the right limousine with no panties on, and suddenly it's around the world. Well, wasn't that you know what I'm referring to?
Britney Spears.
Oh, you know that one, don't you? Right. Yeah. As they say, the media had your nose open. That's an old-fashioned term. You got my nose open? When you were so in love with someone, it's like a cow with a ring, you know, like that. Well, they got you coming and going, don't they? They feed you these little tidbits of stupidity, and suddenly there's like, how many hits on YouTube is about somebody picking their nose? And everybody you know is talking about, and did you see this? Woo! And then you forget about it, another one comes, right? Oh, it's here. It's already here. Oh, anyways, Miss Rhoda leaves that situation. And what happens? She wants to sing. And she goes to pretty, variety theater. And whenever we do it, I know we did it here from downtown Lawrence, I think that's what George said. And we did it in Brooklyn, from downtown Brooklyn. All supposed to be kind of tongue-in-cheek about a world no longer exists. You know, vaudeville theaters used to be everywhere, literally. There was no television. There was literally, you'd go to the vaudeville theater for the big world to come in. So here she finds her way into this theater, and she bombs terribly. Now, she's not untalented. She's just so stupid. Why didn't she turn off that damn cell phone? Well, because there is something bigger than even her ambition, and that's her connection to that sister right there. Or maybe more so, even the connection to that life. That's even a harder one, isn't it? I have a friend who used to say, you know, in the 50s, they used to say that you can't go home again. Well, my friend said, you've heard that term. You can never go home again? She said, oh, the hell with that. You never leave home. Home is in you. And once again, that might be mildly funny right now, but some of us, 30, 40, several marriages later, realize that, my God, that fucking high schooler, the cool boy or cool girl or the nerd that I was in high school never went away. I just found a way to hide them. Anyways, that's sort of what's pulling Miss Rhoda back to Miss Harriet and allows Miss Harriet to interrupt her at moments when she should be looking outwards about her career. But in fact, she's taking care of something she's never been able to deal with. And she is out in the street, and then she runs into this horrendous person who is a cross-dresser, oddly enough, because her sister Harriet was a big, bossy woman. Miss Rhoda, who probably has never had sex, doesn't even know the difference between a man and a woman,
She thinks that she's attracted to him because of how fabulous he is, but in a way, he's almost like her sister. And sure enough, she gets pulled in a relationship where she's in that room and she's helping him change and be glorious. But she could do this for the rest of her lives, and it's a relationship that's going to, once again, crush her down until she finally escapes yet again. And she goes back to the voice that we first heard, the voice that wants to suck her to sink, make a change in the world. Ah. Yeah, a voice that really is going to do what we all want Mr. Obama to do. Can the world really change, Rhoda? Can it really change, my dear? But does it matter? What I love about Miss Rhoda at the end is she's out in the street saving the world, even though she probably will die doing it. And Miss Harriet stays at home in her comfort, bringing that milk to somebody who's not there, talking to ghosts. I have a secret for you. On bad days, I feel a lot more like Miss Harriet than I do about Miss Rhoda. On bad days, I think the best thing I can do is to shore up my pocket, lock that door, make sure I have my widescreen TV, make sure that I'm safe. We all want to be safe, right? And let the Rhodas of the world go out there and fight yet another street battle. Which one are you? You don't have to answer for me. That's what I was trying to get at in the piece. This foolish Rhoda or this repressed Harriet? You might say, are those the only choices we have? Well, you're supposed to show me, Mr. I've been around the block 3 times, right? You're supposed to show me another model now. Yeah, you guys got out the vote, didn't you? Were you the ones? Can things change? Can we do a poll? How many people think things can change? How many people think they can? How many people just don't want to be involved in making a decision at this moment? And you didn't raise your hand for any question. Why not?
I don't believe it can change.
Well, why didn't you raise your hand?
Because I would have been the only one.
Pardon?
Because I would have been the only one.
Oh, hey. You weren't the only one. I think there's a lady sitting next to you also. Let's do that again. Who doesn't think things ever change? Right.
I think both at the same time.
You think them both,
Both.
or you live them both?
In some ways, I lived in both parts of my life.
And that's the other way, isn't it? That art has to make things like this and this, but we know that we can. We're dead set on finding out. And maybe that's where I'm at as an artist right now. Can I have something that's going to speak to the smartest people in the room? Olds, existentialism, philosophy of the mid-20th century that believed that we have no moral options, that everything was in some ways determined by forces bigger than us. And can I also talk to people who want to have a good evening, have fun? And how can I serve them both with dignity and cleverness? In other words, make it as well made as I can. And my job is not only to just deal with Bill's fantasies and Bill's moral questions, but I have an organization, a company that is made out of individuals, and I think that is a sacred duty, because they look to me to do something that's worth doing. And that's my big test for anything. What's worth doing?